All right, so here we are, and I want to discuss the second section that Mosey goes through, and it's about understanding what the problem is and what your solution should be. And he gets into it. Now, I want to fast forward and get you guys what I'm seeing here. If you go to most roofing companies, I have Apple pulled up here. We have an instant quote tool. We also have some things like that. Great. I go to Monarch, pretty similar. I go to Savage. This is a site built by my team, similar, right? And it's schedule your free consultation. I go to Lightning, another site built by us, claim your free assessment, right? So again, a lot of stuff that is offering the same thing. Now I have an Airtable that we put together over the years that has quite a bit of information about ads, right? This is ads that we've made, that we've looked at, that we've researched, etc. And you can go through and you can start seeing, what's funny is you see this image of a house way too much. If you have that house, I did too, get rid of that house. It's like number one generic picture image used in the roofing industry, I'm pretty sure. So I go through and there's all these ads, right? Now let's play a little game here. I typed in the word estimate 1,371 times. Let's type in the word free 26. Let's type in the word quote 1,000. Let's do hail 431. So you see how, let's use assessment. We have 135. So you can see how these words are very common, but a lot of these ads, if you look at them, they're going to talk to you about, hey, if you need your roof replaced. They're going to talk to you about, hey, get a free inspection. Some are going to, now they're seeing a bigger movement going into get what do you call it? Get a actual quote, an instant quote, and you can start seeing what's going on from there. And then you always see free inspections and affordable prices, schedule an inspection, schedule your inspection. This one's interesting. It's $153 a month. I'm not sure what he's up to there. I haven't really looked at that one careful. Not what I'm focused on today. Need a new roof, Red Hawk, need a new roof. We have easy financing. So there's financing things out there, right? So financing, that's a good one to look up. Let's see how many people out of these ads financing. Not so much. So that's a good one, right? So anyhow, what do I mean by this? And what am I trying to explain to you is, in the book, it talks about creating a problem, finding the problem and finding a solution. Now, the problem for us, the contractor, is that we want to generate leads. And we already went through that. Now, the next question is, how are we going to build a proper magnet? How are we going to look at what we do and what is a proper lead, right? So Mosley talks about the core offer that you're trying to do. So in most of our cases, I'm going to make the assessment and say that core offer is we want to get a roof inspection, right? I think that's pretty common. Most of us that offer quotes, instant quotes, in-person quotes, whatever, we have to inspect the property. It doesn't matter. Probably part of business in most cases. So I think the core offer here is the first sale, if you would, is a sale of an inspection. The second sale is from that to the agreement, retail or insurance, right? That could go a few different ways. But working backward from that, what's your lead magnet? Now, one of the magnets that we've created is this instant quote tool. And it's cool. Roofall, if you're not using those, good tools. They do help create some more information. I will tell you, I'll be the first one to say that I didn't see the value in those tools as much. I put them on sites like here for Savage, and here for, we have Roofall installed here for them. And we have for Lightning, I have one for them as well. This is their capture page, but if I go to their actual website, you're going to see get instant quote, and you'll see some information there about how to get your instant quote and how it works and all that fun stuff. So we've got some stuff there. I think there's another one that I could think of, Thunder City. They have a quote tool that we could pull out and start working on their instant quote or what have you. So there's a lot of different things out there in tools, and that I think is acting dumb because of my video. What is it that we can do to generate leads and generate more? And that's where I was looking at, what could we do? So what is our offer? So for a lot of us, our offer is this instant quote, is our lead magnet. Okay, great. People do that, right? So I was studying, again, Alex's book and trying to think this through, put myself in the shoes of a lot of my clients, the contractors, and say, how does this work? And he talks about how a person who pays with their time now is more likely to spend money with you later, which means that if they start playing ball with you, they'll start working with you. And the more you get them to play ball, do this, do that, do this, do that, the more chance that they're going to spend money with you. We need to find the problem, which is, what is the problem that the homeowner faces, right? And then we need to find the solution. So the first step is figuring out the problem. So as I went through this, And I'll fast forward you guys through where I got to. And you may or may not agree with me. And I'd love to hear your method of what the problem could be. But I think the problem that I came up with brought me back to CarMax. And what I mean by that is roofers are seen as scammy. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. I'm not sure if I actually even have damage. It's like going to a mechanic, probably a little bit better way to see it is like, is there anything even wrong? I had a friend of mine tell me the other day, she went in for an oil change and they told her she needed XYZ, started crying over there, called me and said, hey, I don't need this stuff. And do I need it? And it was stuff that honestly wasn't needed. Speaking to the gentleman, he immediately redacted his estimate and said no. So this is the people that are out there, right? You guys probably watching this are more from the sales world and you have that sales mentality. You don't get taken advantage of and you read it quick and people pick that up and they adapt to you the way they sell to you. You need to put yourself in the shoes of the homeowner. What is it that they're doing and how do we apply this? So one of the things I figured out was I think they don't know if they have damage. I think they don't know if they should be taking action. I think they don't know if this applies to them. And then another problem is they don't know how, if this should even be like, who should they select? What should they look for? And then how does this work? So the problem comes down to the very first problem is, am I even there? So now what I found from him, and he goes through, and I'll share this with you, the 7 steps to create an effective lead magnet. So it says, figure out the problem that you want to solve, figure out how you're going to solve it, figure out how to deliver it, right? Test the naming of it. So in other words, like how you advertise it, the name, the headline, the subheadline, probably even a few other things like the image, things like that. Make it easy to consume, make it darn good. In other words, like over deliver, give them more than they ask for. And that's going to get them to be like, I like that company. Let me see what else they got. Again, those that consume your time, that give you time, they will go ahead and in the future, hopefully give you money and make it easy for them to tell what you want to offer them. So in other words, always have that call to action, right? So he talks about, and I don't know if you guys see this, but he talks about the problem and solution about how there's a big problem. Oh, they have roof damage. They need a roofer. But then there's those micro stuff that you got to figure out. So and I think you could continue analyzing this more. But with the words that I saw in the ads, I noticed that everyone is sharing free inspection. There's a good percentage showing instant quote. And I think we could do better than that. Now, there's 3 methods that he talks about, and I wanted to see how to apply as part of my strategy here with BUMS.AI and everything else. How do I get this to apply to the system, the contractors I work with, the people I want using the system? And the 3 methods that he talks about is making them aware of it. So he uses the example of a website testing bot. We have one, and I'll post it below. But if you go to audit.bossupsolutions.com, you can test your website. And then that becomes a lead magnet for people that want websites. And more than that, I actually have the data to tell you more than just that, hey, do you want a website? I could say, hey, your website, your H2 tags are all messed up. So it gives you more, better information. So making them aware of it, he talks about using like a testing model. So how can we apply that to roofing? Another one is a sample or a trial of that offer. So for me, that sample, I think the roofers and the roofers have solved that, where they give you that sample by giving you that estimate. It's not like you give a sample of a roof. I mean, yes, you can leave some samples behind, but essentially I can give you a sample of what it's going to cost and how the process is going to work, right? And then there's that multi-step process where he wants to say, give them step 1, give them step 2, but don't give them step 3 and make them want it, right? Over deliver on those first steps and show them. And that could be information like, how do you file your claim? Here's how you get started. Here's what you need to do next. Guiding them without actually having that commitment is another way of doing it. So I think there's things that we can apply there. Going back to the awareness one, what I realized with the magnet that we can do is, what if we took something as simple as saying, do I have damage? How do I know if I have damage? So as I work through this, and I'm working through this live with you guys, again, I told you I'll do this while I'm on vacation. So I'm doing this live. What I want to do is say, I want to create something that says to the homeowner, hey, put your address and info here. Go ahead and see if your home even applies for damage before we even get started talking about getting an inspection. Before we get started talking about whatever, let's run you through some sort of simple test. And if we do that test, let's get a damage report. And if we get a damage report, then we now have more information. So how do we build that? Again, I'm not going to give you the answer yet because I'm actually building it as we go. There's some steps that we're going to build to put this in our portal. Another thing that's very important with a lot of these things is we want to be able to measure. We want to be able to understand our stats and metrics so we can make a repeatable process. So, again, this chapter, this section talked a lot about the problem, the solution, and some of these 7 steps that we're going to get into. But some of those steps are going to go into some other parts. But to me, the biggest thing here was understanding what their problem is. And their problem is, I don't know if this applies to me. I don't know if I should give a shit. That's where it starts, right? Then it goes to, I don't know what it costs. I don't even know where to begin. And I don't know how this works. So those are the problems. Those are the 3 problems that we're going to set off to automate, create a system that we could then figure out how we're going to put in front of people. Is it landing pages? Is it text messages? Is it emails? I don't know yet. I'm building this as we go, but that's going to be the next step. So those are going to be my kind of takeaways on how I want to do it. Now, he does get into like testing titles and all that, but we can't do that yet until we create whatever that offer is. So this chapter or this section, essentially, we've established our problems. We established some of the solutions. Now we need to refine and build those solutions and then start testing it, right? So that's going to be the next step.